Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier. This video is actually a little bit cooler of a story than other videos. It's cooler because when I was in France in 2022, I had an opportunity to talk with parts of the team that were working on what was at the time the unannounced T818. So I am happy to say so far the T818 performs very well. It's priced properly for its performance and its features. The tune is given to any force feedback system, its programming during its development, and sometimes adjustments are made in subsequent firmware and updates to further improve the experience. This tune completely dictates how we feel when we're using it. The tune is as important as the hardware to ensure a good experience. And finally, to make my point here, I'm going to say that this tune is often why many prefer one brand over another. It takes a little bit of time to get used to the slight changes in tune when changing to another ecosystem. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I always love seeing how passionate people are in forums and on Facebook groups when questioned, what should I buy or what is the best? It sometimes gets very heated. I test many, and I will begin the review formally by saying that I really enjoyed the tuning and performance that I was given when using the T818. Thrustmaster as a brand has been a household name for years. When they announced that they would be creating their first direct drive wheelbase, we all took notice. Direct drive has now replaced belt drive in the industry, just like how digital cameras have replaced film. The tech has evolved very quickly. There are direct drive wheels in all segments of the consumer market, and there are now almost too many options for the consumer. What I have for you today is the Thrustmaster T818 SF1000 bundle. I've also been using this bundle with the TLCM pedals. I like to test parts of an ecosystem together at the same time. The optional cockpit mounting plate was an extra $40 and proved to be super with a sticky rubber bottom and a metal frame. There's also a $50 desk mount as an optional extra. The bundle is listed at just over $1,000 US. The wheelbase alone is priced at $650 US, and the SF1000 wheel is just about $400 US. Physically, the base is quite striking with a medium-sized hexagon frame. There's a mesh at the front and 3 vents, top and sides. We have that new quick release system for the T818. Unlike the release of the Logitech Pro DD, there is actual legacy support for all the wheels that you may already own if you can get your hands on the QR hub. The metal cover can be customized with simple tools. There's a small control panel on the right side which offers some interesting functions. The underside of the base has 4 metric threaded holes, and the rear has the expected I/O. On one side, there's a click on and off power button. There's a power port for the external power brick. There's a Type-C for connectivity. There's a DIO port, which is listed in the manual as future expansion, and there's a dedicated plug for pedals. Don't lose or break the wire that comes with the pedals. The wire seems to be proprietary, despite looking mostly like a network cable. And finally, I thought that it was interesting in an age where everything seems to be made in China that the T818 is listed as being made in France. When looking at the right side panel, there's an emergency kill switch. Also on this panel, there's a small LED above a mode button and also a pair of action buttons listed left and right. Pushing the kill switch will disable the motor as expected. The LED ring will start flashing, and to restore operation, you will need to fully restart the base with the power switch. And this could be a problem because many games also need to be restarted all the way back to the menu, as turning it off will disconnect the controller. The kill switch on this is more of a full emergency kill rather than a temporary disable. The mode switch here does a couple of things. Some players mount their pedals inverted, so you're able to swap the position of the gas and the clutch. If you notice your bindings are operating switched, you can hold this mode button down for 4 seconds. Red indicates normal and green indicates inverted. The manual also speaks about some special mode changes to accommodate the legacy Thrustmaster pedals. The software is a fresh skin over the default Windows USB control GUI. In here, you will have the expected features such as force strength, steering angle, center point calibration, and a visual indicator when bindings and axes are being used. Gets the job done, but it's very basic. To unlock the full force available, you will need to click the lock icon and then acknowledge a warning. Some games require the user to change the steering angle based on the car, and F1, for example, you may use 360 or 340. The choices are 240, 360, 540, 900, and 1080. You can always Alt-Tab and change these in the GUI, but as a second easier option, you may use the mode switch and the left and right direction to adjust the steering angle without interrupting your game. These changes will be indicated by a flashing red LED. One flash would show you 270, 2 flashes is 360, and 3 for 540, and so on. So that's the technical and physical rundown of the T818 10N direct drive wheelbase. The packaging leaves nothing to be desired. A boxed, prettier box, protected during shipping. Opening results in a special experience, and you're also left feeling special. No jokes, the unboxing was actually very nice. As I said before, this quick release is new for the T818. It'll allow you to convert and use all of your legacy wheels. I bought a round FX599 Evo wheel to expand my testing beyond GT3 and F1 style driving. I was pretty disappointed to find that there was no availability for this new QR part anywhere except for Germany. Attaching the QR as intended to the SF1000 required a lot of force. They even cover this in the manual, but this results in a totally solid and flex-free experience. Because the QR isn't easily available to switch wheel types for drift and rally, I required a screwdriver that needed to be inserted carefully to pry the QR loose of the wheel. This is also mentioned in the manual, but the QR really appears to be designed to be attached once. Prying it loose required careful concentration as to not permanently deform the plastic. The QR latch opens one-handed in less than a second, and the QR clamps solid with absolutely no flex. If I see stock return for this QR part, I will post on Twitter, so follow me there for news and updates. I want to take some time to speak about the SP1000 F1 wheel. It's super, and it's available separate from the bundle. It's a mostly faithful reproduction of the actual F1 wheel used by Ferrari in the 2021 season. Questionable variations in the labeling and the buttons and the dials. Things like the real wheel having a DRS button, but that being labeled drink on this SF1000. Thrustmaster does get an 11 out of 10 for the feeling of the shifter lever. Perfectly clicky, it never misses, and its operation is actually quite silent. The user has a solid tactile and a very positive response, and because it's a full-length lever, you can actually push downshift or pull upshift one-handed. You have analog paddles below for clutch and gas. There's a metal toggle switch labeled Y and N. This is not found on the real wheel, and it's a dedicated power switch to turn the screen on and off. Some might find it distracting to have it on all the time, but that info on the screen might become critical in certain situations, and you might like to have a quick check. Being able to toggle this is great, especially as there's no dimmer. Not all of the dials visible are available as bindings because some of the dials will only control what pages are seen on the screen. These special dials also push in, which swap from dark to light background. You have the choice between many layouts, but there are also some pages that are just a simple list. New pages have been added with patches. The screen is very easy to read and very lag-free. All of the buttons and the dials feel great on this wheel. Overall, this wheel is solid and of a high quality for the price. I was really disappointed with the FX599 Evo round wheel that I bought. At $300, it looks nice on a shelf with its lovely Alcantara covering, but it's just a nice cover over a cheap-feeling plastic wheel. This particular wheel would be better priced at $150 in my opinion. Let's talk about the experience of using the T818 bundle. Overall, I was able to get a great drive without any drama. As I said earlier, there were very few points of adjustment within the software, and I'm going to give that a light pass because the base tune was great for the situations that I tested. This meant that in dirt, the transition between tarmac, dirt, and gravel were announced to my hands. Further, when it was a wet stage, the sloppy mud also translated very well. On road, there was some solid texture and even more micro texture that I normally feel only from a stronger wheel with a higher rating. This T818 is rated at 10 newtons, and some might consider that low or on the lower mid side. I think that Thrustmaster may have actually underrated the 10 newton base. I have nothing more than my personal impressions to back this up after many hours of testing. As a user, you can be perfectly happy with 5, 8, or 9, and you might say that anything more than that is a waste, but I have an opinion for you to consider. With direct drive, the idea that too much is a waste isn't as simple as that. A more forceful wheel in general is good when the software is programmed to use it and knows exactly what to do with the headroom. For discussion, we will compare some theoretical drive bases, a 5 and a 21 newton base, and we have them both set to 5. Driving the same circuit will provide the same force sustained as you make and hold the corner. The extra headroom of the stronger base, though, will be used to announce a rumble strip, hitting a curb, or that fine texture. When asked to move more, the 5 will have little headroom, but the 21 can still snap an impact or translate a rumble strip at an appropriate level. I said that I feel the T818 seems underrated because even when set to maximum, the base still has a lot of extra headroom, a lot more than others. This lets the T818 perform more like a 14 or 15, which is great for the price. It does other things well, reducing sustained force as you reach the limit of your traction. The base does a great job with oversteer and even snaps back when traction is restored. I was expecting this level of polish from Thrustmaster. The software is very basic, but there's metal where it should be and the plastics seem strong. The T818 is striking with some RGB for good measure, and normally this would be a warning that the emphasis was misplaced. I'm happy they made a great product first and then worried about what it looked like after. So, in conclusion, the Thrustmaster T818 is much more than an entry-level alternative and much more than a small upgrade to their current ecosystem. It provided me with a great drive, and the bundled wheel stands out as a real gem. The LC pedals are very tunable, so you should be able to get the feeling that you want from the brake pedal. The pedals are on the lower side of polish, no doubt, but they're also inexpensive and have stood up very well to testing. So when deciding if the T818 might be what you want, please look beyond the posted force rating of 10 on the box. The T818 really feels more like a 14, and I believe it's better for you to compare it there instead. So, thank you very much for spending your time with me. If you made it to the end, that means a lot to me. If you liked the video and got something out of it, please consider sharing with a friend or posting it somewhere on a message board where it's on topic. Ask any question or post your comments in the comments. Drive safe.